Nerd! Nerd! Hey, what's going on, Nerd Related? This is the podcast, episode number 1. I really enjoy listening to podcasts, so I always wanted to do them myself. And we're just going to talk about, normal day-to-day stuff, but comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, all that stuff, man. We're just going to dive in, and sometimes we're going to have, different like topics or, some main points we're going to hit on, sometimes we might not. So hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, let's do it. So what's going on, B? Introduce yourself, baby.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, man. So this is Brian, aka Lobo Malo. Haven't really been big on the podcast game, but I know this is a medium many of you guys use to listen to stuff you guys care about. I definitely need to get more into it, but Ray's really huge on this all day. He spends listening to podcasts, so we're going to try to knock these out. Spend some time doing this, YouTube, as well as streaming, so we're all in on that. Gaming is what we do. Nerd shit is what we do, so we're going to be doing this as often and as frequently as we possibly can, so the first of many to come.
For sure. And we repping from Wisconsin. You see, we both got the Buck hats, baby. We ain't gonna get on the Packers though. Losers. Losers. What was I gonna say? One thing I wanted to talk about right away was the Mighty Ducks trailer. I've seen people like, why they trying to ruin my childhood making a remake or whatever? I'm like, did y'all even watch the podcast? I mean, not the podcast. I mean, did y'all even watch the trailer or anything or read about it? You just see Mighty Ducks and be like, oh, they're ruining my childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole different thing. And to me, it looks great, man. I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
No, it looks cool. I mean, the fact that a lot of the cast is coming back. I mean, Emilio Estevez as an older guy,
they couldn't do it without him.
You definitely can't. So I think it's gonna be cool. I think, dude, we're living in a time right now where, like, I think you mentioned this in one of your last videos. We're like, dude, I got to pay for all these streaming services, but everyone's coming in with so much heat, dog, that it's like, well, I need to pay for them because I got to watch it.
It's annoying, dude. So it's so annoying.
At the end of the day, like, I mean, cable, like, we got YouTube TV, right? And it's pretty legit minus the sports stuff. We can't watch the Bucks because they don't have the regional channels. But outside of that, I mean, Netflix.
I was watching the Bucks on there. I don't know.
Yeah, because it was on
like ESPN or TNT.
Yeah, TNT. Yeah, or sometimes NBA TV. But yeah, they don't have Fox Sports. But outside of that, like Netflix coming out with a movie or a series every Friday. I mean, you can't really get away from that. HBO Max is killing it right now. Dude, March is gonna be big with the Justice League and Godzilla.
Oh man, it's just an exciting time for like everything, man. We're just getting. It's way different, man. We were growing up and like everyone would watch the same show. You had a couple of channels. Everyone would pretty much watch the same shows, and you would talk about the same shows at school. Like, oh, did you see that episode? You know what I'm saying? And if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just like everything's at your fingertips. Nobody, So it's a great time. It's crazy. Another thing with people not reading or not knowing too much about stuff. People are talking about the Zack Snyder. I seen some comment online. Some guy was like, "What is it? A part 2? Is it the sequel?" I was like, "Where are you from, man?" And then, I don't know. And then I'm not the biggest comic book enthusiast, but I'm a little, more than regular. So like me and you were talking about that flag stood for the
Death of Superman.
Death of Superman.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, they were talking about the posters. I don't get the Justice League flag thing. And then I came in like a douche. Like, I was like, that's like a symbol of the cover of Death versus Superman. He was like, oh, okay. He's like, what about the Justice League, Hall of Justice being destroyed or whatever? I was like, man, I don't know nothing about that. I was like, because this movie's about to have 150, like I think over 150 minutes of new stuff. And I heard nothing that Josh Whedon put in that movie in there.
It's going to be big.
It's going to be almost a totally different movie. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it is going to be a different movie, like completely different.
And people are just trashing on it right away. You know what I'm saying? Just
I think the tone of the movie is going to be completely different. Because when Whedon came over, you can feel it trying to be more Marvel-y. And like, that wasn't the tone that was set initially. So like, it was fighting itself. Like some tones you felt like it was dark, and then there'll be a new scene and everyone's fucking rainbows and unicorns. So like, it threw the movie off.
I'm excited. I generally hate Superman, but it'd be cool to see him in the black suit and stuff. Yep. And I think Henry Cavill's doing a good job as Superman. I would say I don't know. People say I'm more of a DC fanboy. That's just because I love some of the characters so much. But I really like Marvel characters more. I think they have a better ensemble, or like more people to like. You know what I'm saying? I like everybody you could like in DC, and people that you would know, I probably like that person. But other than that, like Marvel just has so many. And I'm not saying DC don't, but they don't put out books for them.
Yeah,
they don't ever talk about them. It's always the same couple of people. You know what I'm saying? But with Marvel, man, it's like.
Yeah. So for me, it's like when you look at it, it's kind of what Stan Lee said when he created a lot of the Marvel comics, and it's like the initial aspect was they want you to be able to look out your window and see that world, right? We live in the Marvel world, like that's our world. Like DC is like. You know, it's fictional cities, but you can correlate them, you know, Gotham, Metropolis, you can say whatever you want to say about where they're really at. Yeah. But it's not the same of going to New York, going to Chicago, going to LA.
For sure.
Outside your window and literally seeing that. And then on top of that, even though DC's doing a better job now, I feel like Marvel's characters were more real to me. Like they were more flawed. You know, they have real life issues like alcoholism, or you know, that shit that's more real to people, right? Like DC, I like DC. The Flash is one of my favorite characters, if not at the top of the list. But DC, at least the Justice League, they're gods, bro. Like, I mean, Marvel don't have many, you know, like a superhero complete team of just straight, almost invincible dudes.
Well, I mean, Thor
yeah,
Hulk,
but I mean,
Hulk are pretty much invincible, and then what you got on the other side, Superman and Wonder Woman. The other dudes aren't too.
I mean, the Flash is OP. I mean, Green Lantern can pretty much do whatever he wants to do with it as long as his imagination can think it up. Like, I mean,
so I love the DC animated movies on that point, but they treat Green Lantern like a dish rag all the time.
All the time.
Oh, I'm like, y'all gonna stop disrespecting my guy Green Lantern. Like in the last movie, what did he die from? Like lava or something, or falling in some hot, whatever it was. That wouldn't kill a Green Lantern, man. And then, dude, they were having getting whooped by parademons. Like they were like jumping them, and like I was like, man, they're dissing my boy Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, a lot of people. Aquaman gets a bad rep in general, but like he's super powerful as well. Yeah, everything that he does.
That movie killed it for him, though, man. I was Aquaman before. I was a fan before that, so.
But like, you know, end of the day, both of those characters don't get the love they deserve. I never was really big on Aquaman until Injustice, the first Injustice, and I only started looking more into Aquaman because I was code with him in the game, dog. I was doing
the game.
I was like, no, Aquaman's the truth. Let me go ahead and find some comic books that, you know, show me how cody is.
Well, I always liked swimming, man. So I had an affinity for Aquaman right away. And then I used to watch, and I used to read comic books at a young age, man. So I knew the difference. But then I'd watch like Super Friends and dudes riding on a seahorse or something. I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? And everybody's always trashing my boy. I remember when they gave him that water hand. He had like a water hand. And he beat the shit out of Superman. He was like drowning him with the water hand. I was like, yeah. He's had a couple iterations over the years. He had a hook hand, he had a water hand, and he had long hair. Now he has short hair.
Yeah.
But they're killing it now, man. I was reading the run of Aquaman, and he's trying to balance between being the king, the ocean, and then being I'm talking about, like, what is the word I'm looking for? When you talk for one side to another side, what's the name?
An ambassador?
Yeah. He's like an ambassador as well. So he's trying to work with the people and then be a king of his people at the same time. And then some people are trying to set him up to ruin his shit because they don't want that. They don't want that mix.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
no, they
they're
always
trying to
want
work
to keep
together
it
and
separate,
create a
right?
vibe. And I remember Superman try to come get him, and Aquaman tried to run him like, bam, fired on him, knocked his ass down. He was like, hey man, remember who you coming for, bro? He's like, I'm a king. He's like, you're just a military errand boy. He's like, I'm a king, dog. He's like, I'm a king. Come for me. There's gonna be some problems.
I mean, I don't know, like DC's animated movies are so dope, dude. Like Justice League War, the Flashpoint Paradox is probably my favorite animated movie. I just thought it was so dope. And then just seeing Aquaman and Wonder Woman going at it, Atlantis versus the Amazons was pretty interesting too. I don't see how they can do so well animated style and then just mess everything up the other way. It's crazy.
They just try to rush it. They try to rush it. And I was so hyped for Batman vs Superman, like I was clouded.
You were pretty high.
My mind was clouded.
You're pretty high on it. I mean,
but when I left from it, I didn't
hate it
too bad.
I mean, I didn't hate it.
I just hated everything about the Doomsday Bar pretty much. I was like, they didn't have to slam Doomsday. They try to slam so much shit in the one movie, And once again, people, what we're talking about that movie is because the Zack Snyder cut is about to be coming. And I hope it's good. But the thing about it, though, it's not going to go nowhere. There's no continuing.
That's
so
really problem.
But it still means something to me as a DC fan, you know what I'm saying? And then just as a fan of what are you talking about? Like media in general, whatever, man. Like people are starting to have more power.
Yeah, the demand, right? We saw it with Sonic. I mean, people demanded a change in Sonic, and that movie ended up being awesome.
Yep, Sonic releases Snyder Cut, and it's been happening with video games first though. Video games is like the first one to start because a couple of years ago when Xbox was like, we ain't gonna do hard copy games no more. The world was like, well, ain't no buying your system.
We're getting PlayStations.
I mean, it just happened. Yeah, two days later.
Yeah.
2 days later, we're like, hey, no
more DRM. Yeah, DRM. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, you just posted a video. We're gonna raise live. We're gonna double it up.
Price. People are like, man, fuck that. They're like,
it took one day. It took one day. They're like, no, guys, we're just playing. We hear you guys. It's not gonna happen.
But it wasn't even that bad, man. And then I understand they want people to get in the Game Pass. The Game Pass is more worth it. I don't mind paying $15 a month for Game Pass. The weird thing is though, like me, I don't really play any other games.
Yeah,
but the options there if I ever want.
There's so much stuff I know. You really don't. I mean, we can make a whole nother conversation on what that is, right? But like going back to Batman versus Superman, if you haven't watched the director's cut of that movie, it makes it way better. It adds like 30 minutes to it, and the movie is infinitely better than what you saw at the movie theaters or whatever. So you definitely watch that. It makes it so much better.
Whenever I watch that movie, I only watch a few scenes.
It's good.
Everything with Batman in it for sure. Ben Affleck is my dog. I felt so bad for Ben Affleck, man. You can see some of those interviews after the movie started going bad. Oh, they made a lot of money, but I mean, people were just shitting on him. He'd be sitting in the interview like,
yeah, he's defeated. George Clooney tried to tell him. He's like, yo, I mean,
hey, it's hard to play. It's hard to be Batman, dog.
It's hard.
Him and Spider-Man are the two most famous comic book characters, man.
For sure. Most sold, most read. Everyone knows who they are for sure.
It's hard.
I feel like the Snyder Cut's going to be interesting. Not using a single scene from...
Dude, that's why I'm so excited. It's going to be like a totally different movie, man.
It is. It's for sure going to be another movie.
And then come back to that month, man. King Kong vs. Godzilla. You watched the trailer yet?
Yeah. It looks dope.
It looks super dope, dude. It looks super dope. I mean, I'm Team King Kong. I always like Godzilla. I've seen every Godzilla movie and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm kind of I'm a homer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And King Kong's American. I remember back in the day, man, in the American version, I think King Kong won, and then the Japanese version, Godzilla won.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
But I think in both of them, they ended up teaming up together.
Yeah, they fight another monster.
Yeah, but one was just whooping the other dude's ass more than the other. Yo, but that scene when he was coming down with that hammer.
Oh, dog, that looks crazy. It looks more like an axe. I feel like it looks like an axe.
That's what I be telling people though, man. Like, he's a pea-brain lizard. When you think about it, lizards are so stupid. Gorillas are smart as fuck, man. Sign language and
I mean the ability to use tools. I mean, in the Kong movie, Skull Island, we already seen him use weapons. He used that one whip thing, and he, you know, pulled him back and tied him while he was drowning them.
Dude, I've seen Kong Skull Island like more times than I guess you should. I don't know. I'm just a big King Kong fan. Like
I mean, it's a good movie.
What was it? The Peter Jackson King Kong with Jack Black in it and shit. I've seen that movie over 10 times, and then I've seen Kong Skull Island close to 10 times now. I love that movie. I don't know. I'm a big King Kong fan. I like gorillas as well. I always liked gorillas, but I would never fuck with no kind of monkeys or none of them. Them things are dangerous. But
I mean, I can see how like Godzilla might have an advantage usually because he's supposed to be bigger, right? Like the Kong that we know now, the one we've seen in Skull Island was an adolescent, so he wasn't even full grown.
yeah,
And then the one we see in the trailer is ginormous.
yeah. Well,
Like this is the biggest.
Godzilla's still big. You know, Godzilla's still bigger though. But he's always been. Well, I mean, I know it's different. So he's a little faster and stuff like that. It's all upgraded. But I mean, I think if you think about it, man, I know they're probably gonna end up fighting somebody.
Oh, for sure they are.
But if it was a one-on-one thing, I'd put my money on King Kong, man. I forgot what someone said. They're like, man, he's got that blast or whatever and stuff. I'm like, nah, King Kong can run, he can move, he can dodge, man. What are you talking about? He's like, where's he gonna hide or dodge, man? I was like, buildings, man.
He's so big though. I think they made for Skull Island, even as an adolescent, they were saying he was 30%. He was 30% bigger than any King Kong we had ever seen, and this one is like 100 feet bigger than the one we've already seen.
Did you see the newer Godzilla movie?
Yeah.
Boy, was that a slow burn.
It was a slow burn. I feel like they intentionally tried to not show you him. Like it kind of felt like Cloverfield, where it followed the people more, and he was like in the background doing shit, and you'd see his tail kind of, you know, going through.
My favorite part though, it scared my kids when they were in that ship underwater, and he like came by,
boom,
came right up to him. My daughter was like, I was laughing. My son fell asleep in it, so that movie. It wasn't to me. It was decent, but if my son fell asleep during it, it was just too. Like I said, man, it was too slow played, man.
I'm gonna watch it though. I'm gonna watch them both again before the 18th or the.
I was gonna. Another thing about King Kong, man, like you said, like weapons, man, you can throw stuff. You know, so he got punches. You would just put that man in a chokehold,
right?
Man.
Just choke him out.
Choke Godzilla's dumbass out.
Grab him by his tail and just swing him.
Hey, he did that in the 60s or 70s, whatever it was. Swung his ass, but I put him like in a rear naked choke, man. Wrap his arms, lay my stomach, put on the neck.
So, one of the I don't know if it's the director of this movie or just another director. I have to look it up. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But he said he wants to see Godzilla and King Kong now that it's a universe, right? Like a crossover with Pacific Rim and the kaijus or whatever. He wants them to fight those types of monsters because they're a lot more agile and kind of crazy. I don't know how I feel about it, but I thought it was interesting. Like, I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't know how far into the future you would have to go.
I don't want none of that.
It would be interesting.
I don't want none of that. I mean, I don't want King Kong and Godzilla to die, so the more things they could be, sure. Bring it. You know what I'm saying? Especially King Kong, man. Bring it. But the thing about it is, I don't understand, like, when they had King Kong locked up on the boat and stuff like that. Like that makes him look weak because you can never capture Godzilla,
right?
So the dude that got captured and put on a fucking boat about to be the king of the monsters, you're making my boy look soft, baby.
Hey, but that's crazy too, because the scene where on the trailer where he's like standing on the edge of the boat and Godzilla like dives straight out of the water. I was like, oh man.
I love that part. That lady was like, Kong bows to nobody. But I'm like, hey, but he's chained up on a boat. How did y'all chain my man up? And he's way bigger.
I think what it's gonna be is that little girl. You see how they keep showing her and their relationship. The girl probably convinced him to get. Like he went on there willingly, bro. Like she told him to come with her.
There's no way.
Yeah, he's in there willingly for sure.
And they got him chained up. Them chains ain't finna hold nobody.
And then, I mean, the cast is cool. Millie Bobby Brown's pretty huge. Shout out to Stranger Things. You know what I'm saying?
Did you see her in the trailer?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to her, man. I was just waiting to see Kong and Godzilla. All them people was boring me last time, man. I'm telling you what. Bryan Cranston was in the first one, though, right? He didn't come back for the second one.
Yeah, I didn't see him in the trailer if he did.
Yeah, I've listened. I was listening to a podcast with him, and he was talking about Godzilla. I listen to podcasts about 8 hours a day, man. So I'm super excited. I'm finally doing this now. The beginning was a little rough, but we gonna we gonna
No,
get
we're
there.
moving now. We're moving now for
Oh yeah,
sure.
we gonna get there. Oh, so another thing I wanted to maybe we could both get into my introduction to comic books actually, and I think like the first comic book I actually remember panels from and reading. So when I was a little kid, man, my dad wasn't the most like active person like you would say in a child's life. My mom didn't start working until she was in her 30s. She was a stay-at-home mom, taking care of me and my brother and stuff. So my dad would come home from 12, 13-hour days, and he didn't want to do shit with you. You know what I'm saying? So we would go to movies, half price bookstore. We would go to Walgreens, and I'd read comic books. That's how I learned how to read at a young age. So when I was like in third and fourth grade, I was already at a 12th grade reading level because I was reading comic books with my dad. And the first comic book I could ever remember, I have recollection to read. It definitely wasn't the first one I ever read, but it was I don't know what issue it is, but it was Green Lantern, but it's with Kyle Rayner, and it's the issue where his girlfriend got murdered, and dude stuffed Kyle Rayner's girlfriend in a refrigerator. It's one of the most gruesome scenes in comic book history, and I remember that shit. I was like, "Dang, this dude killed dude's girlfriend and stuffed her in the fridge." I wonder what issue that is, man. So I was a fan of Kyle Rayner right away. I didn't know who Hal Jordan was really. I mean, at a young age, obviously,
Right.
I didn't know everybody like that. And Kyle Rayner was my Green Lantern at the time. And I understand that Hal Jordan's, the strongest, and he's probably my favorite Green Lantern now. But it took a while, man, because I always thought Kyle Rayner's constructs were cooler. And my dad, we used to talk about this. My dad really liked Kyle Rayner because he was a comic book artist. So when he made constructs, they were always like super cool and different. And my dad used to draw a lot. My dad used to draw. He had a big comic book collection. And when he went to the military, he told me he gave his comic book collection away to a handicapped kid, and then he like stopped drawing and stuff like that. But sometimes I would catch him drawing. He'd be drawing you in those health books. There's that dude with his arms out. It looks like he has like 6 or 7 arms.
Oh yeah, like
that. Yeah, man. I saw my dad drawing that one day. I was like, damn. I remember one day I went to him. I was like, Dad, can you teach me how to draw? And he was like, yeah. He tried to teach me. He knew I didn't have it in him. He kind of looked disappointed.
Look for a different hobby, son.
Yeah, I started drawing. I was like, I ain't got it. He's like, yeah, you ain't got it, bud. So yeah, but no, that's my introduction to comic books, man. My dad used to. Same thing with video games though, too, man. I used to watch my dad. I would have to wait. He'd be hogging the Nintendo all day, and I would just watch him play Nintendo or Zelda. And if I walk past and I bump that fucking system and it froze, he'll whip that hard ass controller at me. So my dad introduced me to all that stuff, man. So I'm the reason I'm the nerd I am or the geek I am because of him. All the shows we used to watch together. I used to watch Quantum Leap, which is my favorite TV show ever. We used to watch Sliders together. Star Trek. He was never in the Star Wars though, never. But I was coming up. I used to watch everything that was science fiction or fantasy, like on TV and stuff. And he read the Lord of the Rings books. I remember when Lord of the Rings was first coming out. I didn't watch a lot of TV. I was just running the streets with my friends, being a little piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? And my dad, he was trying to spend time with me. Like, hey, you want to go see a movie? I was like, sure. I was like, can my friend come with? He was like, yeah, I guess. He just wanted to spend time with me.
All right.
I was like, what we going to go see? He was like, Lord of the Rings. I was like, what the fuck is Lord of the Rings? My guy was like, man, that sounds like some whack ass shit. I was like, man, I know. And then after I seen that movie, that was like my favorite movie for about 10 years. I remember when it first came out on DVD, I invited you over to watch it.
That was the first time I ever saw it.
Yeah, I watched that movie 3 times that day.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever saw that movie. I was like, what the hell is Lord of the Rings?
I forgot about that, man. Yeah, I invited you. I think you were the first one I invited her to watch it. And then when you left, I think I invited like 2. I invited a different person over every time I watched it. I was like, yo, this is the sickest movie ever. Yeah, I thought it was the best, man.
Now, for me, I think, like, my parents were super church goers, and my stepdad, which was my dad, like, he was the main one around, was way older than my mom. So, like, he wasn't really into. The only thing that he did that I related to is, like, for some reason, he loved playing Sonic. Like, he would just turn the Sega on and play the hell out of Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't get it. I mean, Sonic is fun, but it was the only real thing that, like, but, baseball, we used to be into baseball together, things like that. But comic book related, I mean, in 90, what was it? I think the X-Men animated series is what really got me to get curious about it, right? Like early 90s, 92, I want to say. I watched the cartoon. I was like, I got to buy everything. And I still to this day buy everything X-Men. You know, I read other things, but I mean, that's where it started for me. I think the first comic run I might have read at like 8 years old was probably like X-Men Unlimited. It was like right around the same time as the animated series. So, and then obviously as you grow up, you start reading and finding older things. And now as an adult, you can find, you know, super old comics that you might have not even read before and just kind of dig into the history and listen to podcasts or watch videos of obscure characters you might have never even looked at. So, I mean, we're living in a fun time.
Man, when I was a little kid, I didn't read no X-Men. No X-Men.
Yeah, I did X-Men a lot, and then from the Marvel side, we did a lot of Spider-Man, but because of you know who Spider-Man is, right? Like every little kid in the world loves Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. So, I used to read Spider-Man for sure. Because Todd, was it Todd McFarlane?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite Spider-Man artist, man. When he had all those, like, now you look back at it, and it's not very, what would you say? I mean, it's comic books anyways, but it's not realistic. The webs are like crazy, like everywhere. And stuff,
yeah.
All the pages and stuff, but it was sick. It sure was sick, man. Those webs used to look sick. He had those big eyes, man.
Ginormous eyes.
Yeah, so those Spider-Mans, I love those, man. I remember another one of the first comic books I remember reading was Spider-Man versus Wolverine. I remember actually like reading the issue of that book, man. And I thought that was so cool.
I think like outside of Marvel, the first DC, and I honestly don't even remember the name of it, but the first DC comic I ever owned and had, I think my mom just randomly bought it at a rummage sale for me or something. It was like a blue it was Superman, but he was blue and white. Like even his hair was blue.
Yep, that was after he died. All those
I remember that's the first DC comic I ever like had and read. You know, probably read it a couple of times.
Dude, I mean, my dad was an idiot, but he knew I loved to read comic books with him. He bought me like a first issue, Death of Superman.
Nice.
And I had it with the hardcover and in the plastic. I think I only read it one time, and I like put it up on the fridge. I don't know whatever happened to it, man. I don't never know what happened to it. But I just remember reading it one time as a little kid and just putting it up, man, because it looked so cool. And he had I had the plastic with it and everything. I remember my dad giving it to me. I was like, oh shit. Man, I hate Superman, but this is cool though. I've hated him forever. And my dad's always loved him.
I just like, I don't know, man. Like, he's been around for so long, but whoever just woke up and was like, let's make a character that has almost no vulnerabilities. Like, it's just crazy, dog. Like,
well, he just kept it like whatever you needed to get it.
Did it. So, what was I seeing? I was actually reading something about this recently. I want to say like 2 weeks ago. And at the beginning, Superman didn't fly.
Like, no, he just
jumped. Yeah,
he tall buildings in a single bound. Yeah.
And then I think they were doing a cartoon or something on TV, and they were like, "We need him. Jumping is boring." You know what I'm saying? Like, we need him to do something else. So they wrote in the ability to fly.
Yeah, and it used to not be that fast. He was just faster than a speeding bullet. He wasn't, second to Flash. That's what I always hated about him, man. And and then DC, I'm like, why do you got all these other characters when this motherfucker can do everything they can do?
He can do everything though. It's crazy.
But I hate Superman Stanzo, man, because I think it was Flash Rebirth 1 or Flash. I'm trying to remember.
I have Flash Rebirth 1. I think it might
maybe it wasn't Rebirth, and I don't know. I forgot the name of it.
No 52.
It's an older book. No, it's a standalone. I think it was just like a hard paperback. Let me Google it real quick, man, so these people so anybody listening could get to what I'm talking about.
Is it like old?
No, it's not that old. He beat Superman in a race. They're racing for like charity or something like that. I'm trying to find the issue of the comic book. But he tells Superman, like Superman's like, hey man, we've raced before and it's been pretty close, or I've won, or something like that. And Flash is like,
that was for charity.
Charity.
Yeah,
And he
I remember.
blew past him, and then
Yeah.
Superman couldn't even.
Yeah, he's like, that's for charity,
touch
man.
him. I want to find the issue though, man. So I'm not just talking about books, and people are like, "Oh, what book are you talking about?" And
yeah,
stuff
I don't
like
know.
that. I know it's not Rebirth, but it's like along those lines. The name of it, Flash. What is it called?
That's been like a recent one. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it was like 2000 something, maybe.
In 2004, there was an issue called Fast Friends, and they raced. But it was Wally West. He beat him.
Wally West is actually the faster Flash.
Yeah. So he did. In 2009, there was one called Rear View Mirrors. That might be the one you're talking about. That's Barry Allen. Yeah, it's Rebirth. Flash Rebirth #3 though. It's not the first one. That's the one you're probably talking about.
Yeah, but it wasn't from this Rebirth though. It was like it was called Rebirth, I think, but it was from like 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it's Flash Rebirth #3 in 2009.
Oh, okay. See, I was right, but see, that's nothing, man. How you gonna call that Flash Rebirth? And then you guys do Flash Rebirth, what, 4 years ago?
So the Rebirth is actually a DC. That's a lot. That's an arc. Like the whole universe is Rebirth. So they have Rebirth Aquaman, Rebirth. All of that. I have the first issues of all of the Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Flash, and then I stopped buying them. It just gets too crazy. But yeah, it's not. Let me see.
Yeah. It's from Jeff Johns, 2009.
Yeah, he says, what does he say? He says, Barry Allen gets infected by the Black Flash. Yeah.
That's a sick cover, dude.
Yeah, I actually have that as a panel that I want to put on a wall.
Flash is one of my one of my favorite dudes for sure.
Yeah, this is the quote that you're talking about. He says, they can't lose Barry, and reminds them that they even won a few races against him. Superman says that, and then Barry says, those were for charity, Clark.
Oh, dude, he toasts them. I remember, but then sometimes, it was not too long ago. I think it was in the Justice League War in the book. Superman was, I think, like the first time they met, and this is in the comic book. I don't know if they did it in the movie, but in the comic book, Superman was trying to hit him. He was like, man, he's just missing me or whatever, but he can't hit me. Then they end up letting Superman clip him. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, what's the point then, dude? You know what I'm saying? He's the fastest man alive. Superman ain't gonna touch him. They need to slow him down, man. They need to have like an issue where his powers get regressed or something like that. I'm tired of him being fast, not too fast or whatever. But I think we're coming up on the time soon here, so there's a thing I wanted me and you to dive into before this is all said and done. I wanted to talk about our top 10 X-Men. Brian is a huge X-Men fan, way more than me, but I still love X-Men. I haven't read too much over the years, but I was really big into the cartoon for sure. Watched every episode. I started rewatching it again actually not too long ago, and then I played all the video games, seen all the movies, and then crossover stuff. I always loved crossovers, like when X-Men would meet up with other people and stuff like that. And I used to love all that stuff. And so, but Brian, he's the bigger X-Men guy. He's reading that whole new run right now, and I don't know what's going on at all.
So I'm all in, y'all. Like X-Men is my thing, and our lists are gonna defer a little bit because Ray's real nostalgic when it comes to comic books. Like a lot of things shouldn't change. He loves like what he loved at the beginning. Like I don't really care too much about that, but this new run is pretty dope. There's only been one thing I didn't like about it so far, and it's been out over a year now. I got every single issue of Dawn of X, House of M. Powers of X and House of M or whatever that launch was, 6 issues together. But now this Island Nation of Krakoa got me super geeked and invested. But we're just going to run through a quick top 10 of what those X-Men are. They're going to defer a little bit. We're going to have a healthy discussion in general.
And just to catch up, I listen to these people called Comic Historian. They they like read issues of comic books so you can catch up in case you don't have money to buy them, or if you can't, get a chance to read them and stuff. So anybody listening, if you guys want to catch up on comic books, but you don't have time to go to the store and buy them, or you don't really have time to read, the guy reads issues of comic books and breaks it down for you, and he like use voices and stuff, and he'll take a little bit of stuff out, maybe if it's not accessible or if it don't make sense too much, and he tries to tighten it down as much as possible. So to catch up with you, Brian, so we can actually talk, they have X-Men the Sword. What is it called? Something Swords right now?
Swords of X. So that was the last event, a little crossover, a little event they had.
They have like 5 issues of that on there. So I'm gonna listen to them and I'm gonna watch them. So me and you could talk about that. Then they have the Wolverine. They have the Wolverine one where he broke off. You know what I'm saying? So Comic Historian is awesome, man. They try to get that stuff going. But yeah, we're gonna give you guys our top 10 here, and we're just gonna go back and forth, maybe talk about them a little bit. Brian's gonna be probably more in depth than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
So before we get in there, something real cool that's happening right now. I won't spoil too much, but basically, on the island, in the nation, there's a quiet council, summer, winter, spring, and fall, and it's composed of a bunch of people. Xavier's in there, Magneto, Apocalypse, Jean, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Storm, Kitty, Emma Frost, 3 or 4 but for each season, and they kind of rotate making the decisions on this new nation that they created, all on the same page. Everyone's allowed on the island. Pretty cool. We can make a whole another video on that. But why I'm bringing it up and why this top 10 is kind of in a clutch moment is Jean and Cyclops decided to not be a part of the council no more, and they're going to create their own team of X-Men that are going to fight for the people, right? And one of the cool things about it now is it's going to be more democratic. So they're going to have the mutants on the island vote for who should be on this team, which is the first time ever. Usually Xavier just decides who's an X-Men or not. That's why Kitty always used to get shysted at the beginning. But on top of that, Marvel, if you go to marvel.com right now, you as a fan can vote for one of the members of the team. And they have a decent selection. I'll kind of run through real quick. Armor, Banshee, Boom Boom, Cannonball, Forge, Marrow, Polaris, Strong Guy, Sunspot, and Tempo. On names.
Cannonball. I always love Cannonball.
So there's a lot of names in there. This is probably like a third tier of the team. I'm sure they're not going to be like super, gun-ho about it. I personally voted for Polaris. I think she's a beast. But that kind of kicked some of this stuff in a perfect timing. So we'll just jump straight into the top 10, and you can go first, Ray, because my number 10 is going to throw you off, bro. So we're going to
start. My number 10 for my top 10 X-Men, Angel. And that could be Angel or Archangel.
Archangel, yeah.
Yeah, I like them both. But I don't know, just as a kid, I was like, man, that's really majestic, and who doesn't want to fly? And I just thought it looked really cool. And then in the X-Men cartoons, he got turned into Archangel, and who looked more badass than Archangel?
No one looked more badass than Archangel.
So that's my number 10.
He looked dope. So for me, my number 10 is Emma Frost. And you're going to be like, what? I know we had this conversation a little bit before.
She's strong, dude.
Oh, no, she's super strong. But most people think of her as a villain, and most of the time she is, right? She definitely has those tendencies where she doesn't want to listen to Xavier anyways. But when Jean dies, she kind of hooks up with Cyclops, and her and Cyclops lead the X-Men for a long time.
My boy getting that booty.
Hey, and it's one of those things, like, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like, is Jean even really his first love? There wasn't no one around, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had to end up together at the mansion. There wasn't no one else really to pick from. But
yeah,
I think she deserves to be on this list for various reasons. She's not an Omega level mutant, but her ability, her telepath ability, is an Omega level ability. Like, only maybe Xavier and maybe even Jean with the Phoenix Force is stronger than her telepathic wise. And then the other reason she deserves to be on here, there's a handful of mutants in the comics that have 2 mutations, and she's one of them. She has her regular mutant ability, and the second one when she turned into that diamond substance where she's basically unbreakable. So we talked a lot about how we were going to make this list. This list was super hard for me. Yeah, I probably went through like 15 iterations of it, but I had a little system, and one of the things is like cool level that me and Ray talked about. And I don't think she gets any more cool, dog. She's probably the most sexiest drawn. She has attitude. She's a boss. You know what I'm saying? She's the white queen.
Definitely sexy.
You can't get
that ass. Like my boy Cyclops hit that. All right. So number 9 for me is going to be Bishop. I know you're probably like, what, Bishop? But just that I'm rubber, I'm glue, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you say to me, you know, sticks back to you, whatever, like whatever power they use at him, you know what I'm saying? They can absorb that shit and shoot it back at you. I always thought that was cool. And that's a very strong power. So I always thought that was cool. And then he had like that old mullet, and he had that grittiness to him. I love Bishop. So that's my number 9, Bishop.
I knew it was because of the mullet. I was like, he only putting them on here because fam has a mullet. We get out of here.
That curl was juicy.
I mean, Bishop's cool. I just don't, not for me, right? I think my number 9 is gonna be Beast. I think Beast deserves in a top 10 for various reasons, but I mean, he's the brains and the brawn. It's kind of rare when you have those two combined in a character in general, but
yeah,
like when you think about
I'm
it,
a big Beast fan, dude. So
a lot of people just think of his strength and whatnot. They know he's smart, but like his abilities are superhuman, dog.
Yeah, but people downplay his strength.
Oh yeah, his strength is insane, dude. He has superhuman, not just strength, but speed, stamina, durability. Like he has some form of like healing factor. He doesn't regenerate any limbs, but he can heal faster than a normal person. Dog, Beast is he's a beast, no pun intended. The dude is an animal.
He's a beast. Crazy. I'm not gonna go too much into it then. My number 8, Hank McCoy. Beast. I liked him before he became blue. I used to read original X-Men comic books, man.
Yeah,
so
when he was
a part of the gang. Yeah, man. So he was always strong and stuff like that. And that Beast thing just brought the more out of him, dude. And he's tough. He's smart. He's always thinking on his feet, man. He's smart as hell. I think he's been members of other teams. I think he's been in the Fantastic Four for a little bit. I think he's been an Avenger. I know he's an Avenger for sure. I'm not sure about the Fantastic Four, but they've had a couple different iterations and help people before. But he's definitely smart enough to rock with my boy Mr. Fantastic. So yeah, my number 8's Beast.
Yeah, so my number 8 is going to be a little surprising that they're this low on the list because she is a certified goon. But Jean's my number 8. I think I look at her as a protector. You know what I'm saying? Like she's super strong. She's definitely an integral part of what this is, but empath ability, telepath, TK, telekinesis. And then if you add the Phoenix Force, I try to split that up a little bit, right? Because with the Phoenix Force, I mean, she's something else.
Well, it's all one and the same. That's like me saying angel, but not archangel. Jean, if you say Jean, that means you like the Phoenix too. It's all thrown in there. If you do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's different versions of it, right? There's Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Phoenix, Dark Phoenix. Like it's just,
but it's all the same person. If you like that person, you probably like all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what she's my number 8.
Number 7 is probably a little low on the list or whatever, but Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's overplayed, overhyped. Everybody talks about stuff like that, but now that doesn't take away my love for him. Like I even started reading the new Wolverine comic books, and I love seeing him in any crossover. I love his dynamics with Captain America fighting in the Civil War and stuff. I love Wolverine, but he's just talked about too much, so he's low on my list. But I love the guy, love him.
Yeah, I think some of that comes from the animated series again, right? Like our generation was introduced to that aspect of it, and people just fell in love and never let go. My number 7 is Nightcrawler. I think Nightcrawler, it doesn't get the love he deserves with everything that he can do.
Because he's a pacifist.
It's insane. His ability is crazy. I hated it in the movies though. Like it's more of a fur that he's supposed to have, not like blue skin, but that's neither here nor there.
It's a mix between, man, because his dad looks like
he looks red,
and his mom's Mystique. So it's not really furry. He's not really furry, actually, dude.
Yeah, he's furry. It's like hair.
Books is he furry?
Yeah, it's like hair that he has all over. Kind of like
Beast then, or no? I don't know.
No, Beast is like I don't know, kind of like a.
Because whenever I read the comic books, he looked just like a flat blue. I never really seen too much texture to him or fur.
So it's texture. It's textury, and you can kind of tell because of how he can hang on to shit. Like his whole body has a texture, right? It's not just and like his feet have it, his hands. You called him the pacifist, right? I think he's the soul of the X-Men. Like
No, no, I'm not. I'm not. I don't mean it in a bad way.
No,
Like
that's what I'm saying. I'm just playing
he's
off of what you're
religious.
saying.
He's
Like
religious. He's a pastor. But I think whoever came up with that idea sucks.
he keeps them a little grounded, right? Like make sure we're doing the right thing. But if he were to get pissed, it's a wrap. You know, like the dude is insane.
Dude, if he wasn't a pacifist, he might be my number one. He's unbeatable. If
It's
he
crazy.
wasn't a pacifist, he could beat anybody.
Pretty wild.
He could.
Yeah, so at number 7, Nightcrawler.
I look at my list on my phone. Number 6. Brian ain't gonna like this one, but Cable. Baby. Dude, Cable. What more? He can't look no damn cooler. He had all the guns. He's the son of one of my favorite comic book. Forget X-Men.
You do love him.
He's the son of one of my favorite comic book characters, Cyclops. Like I freaking love Cyclops, and that's his son. How could I not love him, man? And then he's so strong that he's dying from his disease, but he uses his mental telepathy, whatever, to fight it off. So he's mentally fighting that off, but then he's also making shields, lifting people off the ground, fighting. Like, dude, he's so OP, dude. If he didn't have that disease or whatever that he was fighting, where he had to dumb down his power, there's been some issues in some books I've seen where they let that stuff go. Like his power levels are insane.
So,
like his telekinesis was like stronger than Jean's.
So I'll talk about him a little bit now because he's not on my list at all, right? But on the new run in Krakoa, like their main thing is they're able to produce medicine that cures diseases. So in this new run, he doesn't have the disease. He's just full on. He's young though. He's probably like 17, but he's just full on just power, dog. Like the dude
because the Cable we know was like what, 40?
Yeah, 40 something.
40, yeah. So at 17 years old, dude, man, not now. You said that, it's gonna make me want to read that now because I'm a huge fan of Cable and I want to see what he's like.
He's crazy.
No disease.
He has his own book. Like he has his
tight.
own book in the run.
Right now?
Yeah. It's like on issue number 10 or something.
Say less.
Yeah, he has his own thing. All right,
6,
so
B.
my number 6 is going to be another one of Ray's favorite people. Might be low on the list, but I have my reasonings. Iceman. I think no top 10 list will be a top 10 list without Iceman. An Omega level mutant. I mean, abilities, you don't have to say no more, but the dude is insane. Like he looks cool. Depending on who's drawing him, he's always still look pretty dope.
He has the ability to tap into Omega. He's not Omega, but he can't.
So
Omega.
he has Omega potential.
For sure. Yeah.
But his powers are so much more than like just ice, right? Like he controls like this at a molecular level. Like the dude could jump in the ocean and come out the other side in an instant because he could travel. He can demoleculize his cells and just travel through water like a portal.
Dude, he could turn into a mist and travel through the air. G,
it's crazy. He can just like freeze the air and kill you in an instant, and you wouldn't be able to do or say anything about it.
I don't know if he could do that in this run right now, though. But
he's pretty crazy. He got pissed when in the run, Kitty, something happens to Kitty.
Yeah, you were sending me those screenshots.
What? He is not playing no games. So that's my number 6, Iceman.
So my number 5. It was, obviously we're going to have people that go with each other. Nightcrawler, man. Nightcrawler. I first fell in love with Nightcrawler from the X-Men arcade video game at Chuck E. Cheese. He's my favorite character to pick all the time. And then I was always into him because I grew up kind of religion and stuff, man. So I like that he read the Bible, and then like he had a cool life. He was in a circus. He was a sword fighter. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. If he wasn't a pacifist, like, dude, he has like leadership qualities. He's a great person. He's a good fighter, and his power is unmatched. He could literally, if he could see it in his mind, he can go there. Or if he could think about it, he can go there.
Yeah.
There was a couple issues where they turned Nightcrawler evil, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. This motherfucker teleported to the ocean, grabbed a great white shark, teleported into the blob's stomach, put that shark in there, and that thing ate him from the inside. So there's a run where they let Nightcrawler go, and that's where you can really see how insane those powers are.
So he has his on this Dawn of X, he has his own giant size X-Men issue for Nightcrawler. It's pretty dope.
Love him. Love Nightcrawler. Love the accent. What's your number 5, B?
My number 5, and I try to be like, importance
Top
to
5,
the
y'all.
team.
Nitty gritty.
Top five. Importance to the team, coolness, like a bunch of factors I weighed in. But this might be one of my favorite X-Men. And I'm honestly, he looks super cool. But outside of that, I'm not even sure, at the end of the day, the real reason why. But my number 5 is Gambit.
Hey.
I think Gambit is code. Like, the way that he can manipulate kinetic energy at the molecular level is insane. And it's more than throwing fucking cards at people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not reading the books, and we've never seen a Gambit movie other than the horrible Wolverine, X-Men Origin Wolverine, where we saw him for 10 seconds.
But he was cool in there, though. I liked him in there.
Except
for having an accent.
Yeah, I don't know. I hated that movie. That was one of my top 4 worst movies of all time.
Gambit was my favorite part from that movie.
But his ability to control kinetic energy is like at the molecular level makes him be faster, stronger. Mm-hmm. Like, he can control anything. Energy at that level, he can make himself do way further than superhuman things. He fought Captain America, bro, and was going at it.
Hand to hand.
Not many people can fight Captain America hand to hand. So, like, Gambit is a monster, and I don't think many people look cooler than he does. Like, who can pull off spandex and a trench coat better than this man can, look cool.
Just everything about him, man, from the card tricks to the pole to the leather jacket to the ladies.
So one thing I found out about Gambit as he became more and more of my favorite character is, like, his charm in itself is an ability. Like, he can charm you.
I was going to say that because he's in my top. I was going to say if you didn't say that.
So, like, he can charm you, dog. And, like, if you're aware of him having it, you can kind of, like, shut it off. So, like, most of the X-Men are like, yeah, stop. I know what you're trying to do. But if you don't interact with them often, he can charm you to do whatever he wants. It's actually pretty crazy.
They've said he's on the level of Dracula.
Yeah. I was about to say that. It's
I think Dracula tried to charm him before. Somebody tried to do something to him. And then his kinetic energy allows him to block psychic stuff as well too. Yeah. Not like someone like Xavier if he has on Cerebro.
Yeah, like low level.
Someone, yeah, but if like someone tries to get in his head or something like that, just on a regular basis, you can't.
Plus, I love his eyes, dog. Like, his eyes look crazy.
He's pretty hot.
He's a pretty dude.
Yeah. So my number 4, found right behind Brian, Gambit. I love Gambit, man. I even read his one-off book. He had his own book for a while, but not a lot of people read it because I think they were doing. I don't know what the hell they were doing with it. They were making him kind of like there was an issue where he was like a James Bond type of character. I guess, man, it's something different. But see, where Brian likes it, I hate it. I think if they would have just had Gambit in the old trench coat, doing his normal day-to-day shit, fucking off, talking to bitches and fighting with dudes, I think it would have been dope. They're like, man, let's make him a 007 guy for this. He's whatever. I was like, all right, motherfucker, okay. So I think that was trash. But like what Brian was saying is like he's more agile, he's faster, and then he has the potential of being Omega as well. Yeah. He's gone Omega. And he was unstoppable. So he's gone there before. And like I said, he's just super cool. And, anybody that's willing to get their power zapped to kiss a girl, you got to be on my list, baby. Here you go.
Yeah.
Number 4, B.
My number 4, I'm actually, so this character's grown on me a lot. And I think it's because we get used to the main stage, right? Like a lot of people that Ray's talked about, so far, and I know there's a couple that are going to be on this list for sure, but, Beast and Angel, like those are founders of the X-Men, right? They've been there from day one.
You better not put no random person this high.
My number 4 is Kitty Pryde. So
okay. That's all right.
I think a lot of it is because we've seen Kitty grow up. From like a little girl in the mansion, not being allowed to do a damn thing, and Xavier making her do things with the New Mutants and not really letting her be a part of the team, to leading the X-Men for a while.
She's underrated though.
Yeah, she's super underrated. Kitty's crazy.
She could turn intangible.
It's insane. She can like walk on air if she wanted to.
See, I didn't know all that. All I got to know is she could turn intangible. That power is insane.
She's pretty. I think a lot of it goes to.
She can't even be. If she don't want to be hit, she can't be hit.
Right.
And she can walk through walls, go through people. Like, imagine her putting her arm through your body
and just ripping
and then
shit
turning
out.
solid again, or putting her arm through your head. You don't have to be strong to do that kind of shit.
No, you don't. You don't have to be strong at all. But I mean, I think I mentioned Nightcrawler being the soul of the X-Men. Kitty's the heart of the X-Men. And it shows every time. Like, Nightcrawler's relationship with Kitty's deep. I mean, she dated Colossus for a while.
That'd be cool if they had their own run together, Nightcrawler and Kitty Pryde. That'd be a sick run.
That would be interesting. He protects her. You know, that love they have for each other is crazy. But she's one of these characters. Ray mentioned Wolverine jumping outside and fighting other people. Kitty's been in other comics a lot recently. She dated Star-Lord, so she's in the Guardians of the Galaxy for a while.
Star-Lord, man.
So I love Kitty. I think right now she's the Red Queen. She got promoted to the Red Queen in the Hellfire Club. Her, Emma, and Sebastian are running shit down there.
See, he's an X-Men nerd. I don't know anything he's talking about right now. See, I'm a nerd, but we're nerds in different levels of places. And when it comes to X-Men, Red Queen, that could be a playing card for all I know.
I mean, so Emma's the White Queen. But yeah, you know, that's my number 4. Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat.
So my number 3, I mean, he's got to be on the list, man. Colossus, baby. Colossus. I mean, what was I gonna say? Like, in the I mean, I always don't know what words I want to say, but he seems boring off top or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He's not the most exciting person ever or whatever like that. But I just always loved his beliefs. You know, he was always very helpful. He always loved people. He's respectful. You know what I'm saying? He just had that, you know, about him. And then he wouldn't go out his way to hurt people, even if they were trying to, you know, hurt him. You know what I'm saying? He was just like a gentle giant. But he could bang with the best of them. He's super underrated. He could bang with the best of them. He could fight Juggernaut one-on-one. He's fought the Hulk one-on-one. He's fought with the Thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he can get it in. I love Colossus, and it's just cool. Like, even from the cartoon to the comics to the movies, even when he was in there shortly. I know he was in the Deadpool movies, but he was Colossus the whole time But just seeing a man transform, like,
that's cool.
You know what I'm saying? And he's just solid steel or whatever he is. You know, and it's dope.
No, Colossus is cool. He's not on my list, but he was in the top 12.
He's not in your top 10?
I had 2 people. I had a tough decision with Emma being in there, but I'm like really partial with her.
Did you even think about Colossus being in the top 10 at all?
He's in the top 13. I'm telling you, I made this list like at least 15 times. I wrote that. And then once I got to the 10 that I wanted, it ended up going back and forth, like, okay, who's number 1, who's number 6, and it was just I
could dig that.
My number 3, Storm. I mean, Storm, I love Storm. I love Storm's look. I love what she is. The way she was considered a goddess. She became the queen of Wakanda. Come on, man. I mean, Storm's out here doing big things. And her ability is crazy, though. I just love.
What do they call that? You know, when you gotta like hire like colored people to give colored people a job. What's that word? You know, when they started doing blacks, Mexicans, all the people. Pro, or I'm trying to think of the word it is, but that's what I think when I think about Storm. Not the shit on your parade or nothing like that.
No. What is
You like when they give
affirmative action.
Yeah. I give her the affirmative action card, man. She's one of the only black superheroes in comic books, man, and most of the superheroes that are black are pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, being second in command a lot of the time, I mean, that status true. Puts her on there.
That's true.
She is...
But she can control the weather.
I was about to say weather manipulation is pretty intense. You know what I'm saying? It goes more than just controlling, like her interaction with it, right? And it's what's cool about it too is because the X-Men travel outside of Earth all the time. That's kind of a part of their thing. Is like it's not just Earth's weather. You know what I'm saying? It's weather anywhere. It doesn't even matter. Once she arrives
she
in a new location, she can feel it and control it.
Yeah, she's it.
So, I mean, I like all the iterations. She's had a mohawk where she looks pretty badass. She's had long hair. Right now, she's actually leaving the
Uncanny's
island.
my favorite still. Her uncanny look.
She's leaving the island right now to go back to be with T'Challa and run Wakanda.
Oh, so they talk about their relationship in these new books?
Yeah.
That's fucking dope.
She's still she's still his wife. She's just doing X-Men things, but she's done with it now. She's going back home to him.
Yeah, and then the king of Wakanda picked her to be his queen, so she's
gotta
be cool. But
be
Storm didn't even make my list, even though I do love her. But she didn't make my list. And I'm sorry if any girl listeners or anything like that. I didn't put any females on my list, but that wasn't on purpose. They're just not in my top 10.
I actually, how many do I got? Let me see. 1.
If any female would have hit my top 10, would have been Jubilee.
2, 3. I think I got 4.
Jubilee's underrated, very underrated. But let's get on with this list. Number two. Number 2. Man, it's hard. It fluctuates with this guy, but Cyclops. Cyclops is number 2.
Oh, he's not your number 1?
No, Cyclops is number 2.
Oh, no.
But dude, man, I don't know. The writers fucked him over for the years. Scott's a piece of shit, man. They always make him a piece of shit, asshole, shitty leader sometimes, and then his beliefs, whatever. But dude, I just loved him, man. His leadership, you know what I'm saying? Xavier always believed in him, always trusted him. Everybody else did too. Nobody really questioned him except for Wolverine because he's a dick nose. And but like he's underrated, man, with his powers, man. Like people don't know, like he's an elite hand-to-hand combatant person. And then he controls his lasers like Captain America can manipulate his shield. Like he's been training forever. Like he could bank shot that off the ground and hit somebody. He's made his optic beam tight enough to burn a hole through the blob. Like he has so much control over that thing. And then it's been said to have the strength to blast through a mountain. Like, and not just a mountain, like multiple mountains. But people always get it confused. Like it's a laser beam or it's heat. It don't get hot. It's an optic blast. Yeah. But the coolest thing about it, which is insane, is like in his head is another universe where those
that's where they come from.
Beams come from.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, it's like a portal to another universe, and it's releasing the energy.
I was looking into him and stuff, man. They say that in the comics he's smarter. He has a keener sense for things, and like he kind of has like like he kind of knows certain stuff. He's normal, but he's not normal. But yeah, man, I love Cyclops. Come on, always gets the chicks.
Yeah, I mean, he got Emma after. I mean, I think Emma's an upgrade over Jean, but they both out here.
I don't like how easy they let Captain America wash my boy in the X-Men versus Avengers. Yeah. But whatever, Captain America's OP as hell. In the comic books, Captain America fought Thor to a standstill. Get out. But shut up. Whatever. Keep going with your list, man. Number 2.
My number 2, Ray called overrated not too long ago, but I think I got my number 2.
No.
Number 2. I love Wolverine. I think I'm an asshole in general. That's how I live life. Like I just say what I want to say, and I see that in what he does, right? Like it's not that he doesn't care, and just like I don't. It's not that I don't care about other people. It's just some shit needs to be said, and he's out here saying it.
Well, he's lived so long too, and
he's been lived through so much now.
He's at a point where he just don't care.
His regen, though, I mean, his mutant ability regeneration is insane. I mean, you can read anything, dude. Like limbs, it doesn't matter. He can grow it back. And end of the day, like he's really that enforcer, dude. Right? He's gonna, even though he's tiny, he's not even a big guy, but he's gonna go up against whoever needs to be taken out. And he does his thing. I like the way he carries himself. And
if I could chime in on your number 2,
sure.
I didn't say this about Wolverine before. People underrate his fighting because he underrates his own fighting. Like he's a ninja. He's a samurai. Like his fighting ability is on par. Like he could bang with Captain America, and them dudes just tussle and go back and forth. But his healing ability, when it comes to fighting, makes him not even want to fight like that.
Right, it doesn't matter
because he knows no matter what you throw at him, he's gonna run through it. But he can fight. He's one of the best martial artists in Marvel.
Wolverine's dope. I mean, you can kind of see it in the earlier stuff a lot. His agility, a lot of flipping and things like that. It doesn't happen as much anymore because of what you're saying. He just runs head first. It's not gonna matter.
Hand-to-hand combat.
But I mean, Wolverine's it's just crazy. I think he's cool. I mean, motorcycles, leather jackets. Like he just has that look.
Cigar, baby. The hair.
He's out here. He just looks
he
looks like a cool ass dude. His ability is amazing. He's lived forever.
Dude, all the suits were cool.
And right now he's on his solo run. He's hunting down Dracula. So
he ran into Blade not too long ago.
Yeah, Blade's on right now. He has actually, this is a whole nother run, but on King and Black, Blade is asking Dracula for help to fight the symbiotes, but that's neither here nor there. Wolverine's out here. Dracula enlisted or took over Omega Red's mind. So he's going down. He's hunting him down.
I love Omega Red.
Number one!
My number one X-Men and just number one comic book character in my heart. Iceman. Iceman. And the thing is, I was a fan of Iceman before I even knew who the fuck the X-Men were. I used to watch the Spider-Man and his amazing friends. And there is Iceman. I was like, oh, Iceman. Dude, I used to run around my house making the sound effects. I'm like,
sliding through the ice.
Like I was sliding on ice. So I've been an Iceman fan before I even knew he was an X-Men. And then there was a, I don't know, I'm not even bringing that up a little bit. But
yeah.
I was upset.
Some disagreements in direction.
I was upset for a little bit when they made Iceman come out as gay. You know what I'm saying? He's been in comic books since, I don't know, the 60s or whatever. And then, what was it, maybe like, I think it was like 10 years ago. I can't remember the exact time, but then he comes out as gay. I'm like, dude, I have no problem. You know what I'm saying? I know people say that, like, oh, yeah, I don't got a problem with gay people, but whatever. You know, most people sound like that when they have that belief. But no, man, I love everybody, and I have no hate in my heart for nobody. It's just, if you want to have a gay superhero,
make it from scratch.
Make a gay superhero.
I agree. I think that goes into, without going too far off topic, is like recasting characters with not the way that we've always known them. Like I'm Puerto Rican, right? Raised black. Like at the end of the day, we want diversity and inclusion, and we want to be able to identify with these characters. But if there's going to be a Puerto Rican superhero, then make a Puerto Rican superhero from day one, and I'm going to be all in on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't cast Jose Martinez as Wolverine because you wanted to make it look good.
But let me get back to my Iceman for a little bit. There was a run there for a while where he went Omega, and the X-Men needed the help of the Avengers to fight Iceman. Like, dude was turning into giant ice monsters. Yeah. He was just turning in the mist and traveling from one side of the Earth to the other. Like Thor, he was giving Thor the business. Like Iceman went Omega level, and then because he could just freeze the air. There's so like it's kind of along the lines with Storm, man. When you start manipulating things, you know, like it's the sky's limit with him, man. So I always love Iceman, but then I loved it too just for the what do you call it? Just like the normal stuff, man. Make ice picks or ice shields or make ice mace. You know what I'm saying? It's just cool to do those kind of things, man.
Oh, dude. So there's this dope ass scene, just kind of piggybacking on how cool Iceman is, but it also shows how cool Magneto is. So the X-Men are fighting Doom. Doom made some like Sentinel level Doom bots. It's actually pretty cool. So Magneto brings up some iron and lava out of the ground, and he says, you know, Bobby, go cool this down for me, dog. And they're like, there's basically a volcano erupting, and Iceman's out here just cooling it down, and then he turns it into metal, and then Magneto goes to work on the Doom bots. But
dude, that's
like
dope.
The level of his power level and the fact that they turn to him when they need things to get done that are pretty, you know, powerful. It just shows, you know, what he can do.
He makes the impossible possible, man. Iceman, number one X-Men.
My number one X-Men. I feel like he has to be number one, and I don't even like him like that. Like, he's just not my dude. I don't necessarily care too much, but my number one X-Men is Cyclops. Like, you don't think about X-Men without thinking about Cyclops. I mean, Wolverine's probably top of mind to everyone, but Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is that dude. He's always been the dude. People, like Ray said, respect him. And it's more than that, right? His hand-to-hand combat is insane. He's a master martial artist. Like, that's a part of who he is. So, like, it's not just the optic beams.
He's a master strategist as well, man. He puts us in a position to win, man.
So when Ray was talking about like he can see things, that's a part of it too. He's a master tactician. So like if you want somebody on your team to make a plan on how to like fight somebody, you need Cyclops on that team. Like that's just a part of what comes with it. It's why he leads it, right? Some of the reasons why he's always leading into is he doesn't really question Xavier too much anyways, and you kind of need that, right? Like,
but he also knows when to leave though too.
But he's something else, man. Like they follow him just like he follows Xavier blindly most of the time. The X-Men, other than Wolverine, pretty much fall in line, and that shows a level of respect and his ability. Like you're not just gonna follow a weakling.
He's also another person that looks cool as shit.
I think he looks cool.
All of his costumes.
I mean, I'm partial to the blue and yellow, but
everybody is, dude.
I like it in general.
What was that? Lee, what's his name? Who drew that? Who drew the Uncanny X-Men? Why am I drawing blank so much? Something Lee. He drew the X-Men. Dude, I can't believe I know it, so don't think I don't know this. Anybody. His name, I'm drawing a blank. He drew the X-Men through the whole Uncanny series, man. I'm trying to remember. I know it's Lee something. Oh, my God, dude. What are you doing here, Ray? It's so my favorite artwork, man. Like, if I talk about comic books, period, I'm talking about, like, that the artwork. Like, the Uncanny X-Men, I think it's some of the greatest artwork ever. Their suits were just cool, man. From Wolverine to Cyclops to Magneto's look. Jim Lee. Jim Lee's the artist. Jim Lee, man, he started an artist, man, and the look of Colossus and Magneto. Come on, man. Dude, Jim Lee, that stuff. And that's why it was so popular, though, because it just looked so cool, man. It was so different at the time, man. And then that cartoon came out, and then...
I mean, X-Men, they've been around forever, y'all. Like, this is just how, like, we're introduced to them, but so much goes into it, the social aspect of it, what the inspiration was drawn behind these characters, what it meant at the time, you know, in the 60s and what was happening. And really, that's what it is. Like the X-Men
you could pretty much say X-Men were black.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're like... That's
what I always loved about Stan Lee, man.
That's exactly what it is.
And his boy, too.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah. Jack, like, cool story when our top 10 X-Men is over. Cool tidbit real quick about Kirby and Stan Lee. Black Panther actually was first drawn without a mask.
Yeah.
This part was open.
Yeah.
And he was black. And the upper heads at Marvel were like, yo. People ain't going to go for no black dude being on in front of the comic books. Color his face up. Jack Kirby was like, shit, I ain't doing none of that. You can pay somebody else to do it. So then somebody else colored his face in. That's why he got the full hood and stuff. But at first, Jack Kirby was showing that he was black and had half his face coming out, man. Him and Stan Lee always stood for something. That's why they did, you know, the X-Men. And
stuff like that marginalized group of people, right? And we still see it now. Like, I mean, even that inspiration drawn in. I'm curious to see how the X-Men are going to be brought into the MCU. I'm sure it'll be a multiverse thing, but how does that look for everyone? It's going to be pretty interesting. So that's our top 10, you know, of the X-Men, my top 10 and Ray's top 10. But outside of that, y'all, we're going to be doing a lot of these things. So we're going to let Ray wrap it up for us, and we'll be seeing you next week.
What are we at right now, guys? I mean, what are we at? What time are we at now, B?
At least over an hour.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna try to make these things, you know, an hour or so. You know, if it goes a little longer, whatever. And then we're gonna try to hit a main point, you know, if we can. Like I wanted to get that top 10 list out today, you know, for the first episode. You know what I'm saying? But normally we're just gonna come in and, you know, shoot the shit, talk about whatever's popular in TV and games or whatever in our life and stuff like that. And then also any of our listeners, man, I want you guys to, you know, be in the comments, man. Like, you know, did you like our top 10 or who will be in your top 10? You know what I'm saying? Or what X-Men do you love? You know what I'm saying? And also you get those topics to talk about, or what do you think what's hot or what's not, man? I want you guys to be involved. You know, hit us up in the nerd related Facebook page, send us messages or comment and stuff like that. And then you know, if someone send us messages or comments, I'm gonna try to make sure to shout you guys out on the podcast. I'm like, hey, so and so, you know, said this or likes this and stuff like that, man. This is something I really want to do. This podcast is important to me, you know, and this is something I always wanted to do. So, nerd related. Let's keep growing. Let's keep grinding. And thanks for listening. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Yes. No!